Well, Republic TV has accessed exclusive details of the NIA's charge sheet in the investigation of the Lashkar and Hizbul terror network in Jammu and Kashmir. Now, the Lashkar terror group is reportedly behind funding of the Hizbul terrorists in the valley to revive terrorism. The charge sheet also exposes how the Lashkar-e-Taiba has been operating a drug network through operatives in Pakistan and Dubai to funnel funding to terror groups in Jammu and Kashmir. Well, Republic, of course, has accessed exclusive details of the NIA's charge sheet in this investigation of the Lashkar and Hizbul terror network in Jammu and Kashmir. The terror group is reportedly behind funding of Hizbul terrorists in the valley to revive terrorism.
We have seen that 80% of the drug lords, they were funding Taliban. So Taliban's 60% of funding, as per UNODC report, is based on the finances of drug lords. So drug lords, they are financing the warlords, and this Taliban is simply an amalgam of the warlords in Afghanistan. Or most of the warlords are funded by these drug lords. Pakistan itself is an active player in this whole game. Taliban is simply an extension of the Pakistan's game plan in Central Asia. Pakistan thrives, the finances of terror through Pakistan thrives upon the cultivation of opium in Afghanistan, and the heroin labs are all based in the areas which are directly or indirectly under the control of Pakistan, including FATA, northwestern frontier province, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa area, and particularly Swat Valley of northwestern frontier province area.
Sir, last time we spoke, you shared some details how the active involvement of the Pakistani Rangers was established through a phone that was recorded, that even they were telling that you tell at what place you want the drug consignment and it will be delivered, showing the clear establishment of Pakistan's hand. How do you see now the things will move from here on, because now Pakistan has an active support of Taliban?
Pakistan is actively supporting Taliban. So since Taliban has taken over the regime, they are forcibly on gunpoint itself. Two things need to be understood very clearly. First is that all of the finances of the Afghan government have been frozen by US itself or UN. Secondly, they have to sustain their warlords, their troops, and they have to run the government as well. 60% of the economy of Afghanistan depends upon warlords and this drug lords. Afghanistan would be relying on the cultivation of opium. Definitely, we see a huge threat of induction of opium through cross-border smuggling into India. We are up to the task. We are very alive to the situation. Our army, our BSF, our NCB, J&K police in particular, and ANTF, we are all up to the task. We have been keeping a very close surveillance on all cross-border infiltration routes, smuggling routes, and those people who were found engaged in this kind of unholy transportation of illicit drugs.
Let's go across to Gursimran, who's reporting live from Jammu for more on this. Gursimran, to begin with, give us more details of the charge sheet that the NIA has filed.
See, the charge sheet that has been accessed by Republic Media Network filed by the National Investigation Agency in the third case of 2020. This pertains to recovery of a huge cache of arms of drugs as well as cash in the Handwada, after which the case was handed over to the Premier Investigation Agency. And the important thing that have come out from this investigation reveals that the Pakistan-based terrorists, they are using their relatives in Kashmir Valley for this drug smuggling, and this in turn, the money which was to be minted from this drug trade was to be used for refueling and reviving terrorism in Kashmir Valley. Because in the past 2 months, 2 years, we have seen that how top commanders of the major terror outfits, they were totally wiped out by Jammu and Kashmir police along with the other security forces. And now Pakistan-backed proxies, they are now desperate and they are making each and every effort so that they can vitiate the peace process and push terrorists into the Indian soil. Failing on that part, they have now taken the active support of drug smuggling. And this charge sheet, the investigation that has come out has proved the clear establishment of Pakistan's hand, because Lashkar-e-Toiba top commander Hamad Babbar is managing all the drug cartels in Kashmir Valley, and he is managing these operations not via Pakistan but also via Dubai, and the relatives of these terrorists are being used to smuggle drugs from one part of Kashmir Valley to other parts of the country. Now coming to the major point, the main point is that Hizbul Mujahideen and Lashkar-e-Toiba are working jointly. It is for the first time that this expose has come, that both terror outfits are working hand in glove with each other in Kashmir Valley, because in past we have seen enmity among these among various different terror outfits, be it Jaish-e-Mohammed, Lashkar-e-Toiba or Hizbul Mujahideen. But now for the first time there has been adequate evidences with the National Investigation Agency which states that both these terror outfits are working with each other so that they can vitiate the peace process. Now with the terror funding being stopped by the security agencies and infiltration bids being regularly foiled by the agencies, Pakistan is feeling that they have no supporter in Kashmir Valley, and that's why to generate money they are taking the use of the drug smuggling, the drugs being sent from the Golden Crescent that is now under the control of Pakistan plus Taliban, and in the coming days the threat is going to increase. Yes.
Right. You know, Gursimran, the narco-terror nexus has been exposed also in Afghanistan, because it is believed that the Taliban earns most of its revenues, or the monies it used earlier in a sense in the operations in Afghanistan came a large part from narco-terror. Link that for us, because you know, we just heard that bite of Vinay Sharma where he specifically points to that fact.
Let me tell you that Vinay Sharma is the anti-narcotics task force chief who looks after the anti-narcotics operation for whole Jammu and Kashmir. So he's responsible for all the anti-narcotics operations that are being carried out since May 20.
I'm going to interrupt you there, Gursimran. Major General Sinha on the phone line with me. Major General Sinha, good morning. Thank you for speaking to us. To begin with, what do you make of this latest expose that we are getting from the NIA charge sheet? There are clear linkages that have been drawn between the Hizbul, the Lashkar and terror funds that are now perhaps being used in the valley.
You see, in the valley, Pakistan had very mischievously and strategically and cleverly structured the complete terror structure. In this terror structure, Pakistan Army, ISI were the chief actors. It was followed by people like Gilani, supported by politicians like Mahbuba and Abdullah, then OGW's overground workers, then supporters, transporters, people who used to transport stones. All these constituents were part of terror structure. So the NIA charge sheet, I am not very surprised, because we know all this, what was the scenario in Jammu and Kashmir. But what is happening now is, after removal of 370, Pakistan has lost two of its very important stalwarts, that is Mahbuba and Abdullah.
Right, Major General Sinha, thank you very much for speaking to us on that.